Kira stood in front of the small mirror that hung crookedly on the wall of her tiny station apartment. The room was neat, almost too neat, the kind of neatness that made life feel safe but predictable. Every tool, every piece of clothing, even the cups in her kitchen cabinet had its exact place. But today, for the first time in weeks, she didn't feel safe. She felt nervous. She held up the dress she had spent nearly half an hour choosing. It was simple, pale blue, soft to the touch, and surprisingly flattering. Still, Kira twisted it in her hands as if the fabric itself could tell her what to do. A date. She had been invited to her first social gathering in months, a small dinner at the observation deck of Lyra 7. But more than the event itself, Kira worried about appearances. Humans on the station prided themselves on order, but behind every calculated smile, every polite gesture, lay the fear of being ordinary, unnoticed, unremarkable. "Do I look fine?" she asked aloud, more to herself than anyone else. The words bounced softly against the metallic walls. She turned toward her neighbor, who had been quietly sitting at her small workbench, tinkering with a tiny device that blinked with soft green lights. Maya looked up, a gentle smile spreading across her face. Her eyes were always calm, steady, as though she had seen the entire universe and decided it wasn't worth rushing. "Can't you see?" she said softly. "I love you." Kira froze, the question about her appearance hanging awkwardly in the air. She blinked. What?" she whispered, unsure if she had heard correctly. Maya didn't look embarrassed or nervous. She simply nodded, as if it were the most natural thing in the world to say. "I love you," she repeated, her tone light but sincere. "You don't need a dress or a date to impress me. You already do." Kira's cheeks flushed hot. Part of her wanted to laugh, part of her wanted to cry, and part of her wanted to deny it all. But deep down, she felt a flutter, a tiny spark in her chest. Maya had always been there, the quiet neighbor who fixed broken air filters, reminded Kira to drink water, or left a small cup of fresh tea when she had stayed up too late working. And now, in the simplest words, Maya had shifted the way Kira saw her entire world. I have a date tonight," Kira managed, her voice small. Maya's smile didn't falter. "Then go enjoy it. But don't forget that someone here already cares more than you know." Kira laughed softly, feeling a mixture of nervous excitement and warmth. She looked at herself again in the mirror, the dress suddenly feeling more like a promise than a worry. The station around her was alive, but in a quiet, understated way. Lyra 7 was humanity's first attempt at a fully self-sufficient ring station around a distant sun. The outer walls gleamed silver against the blackness of space, reflecting the distant stars like a scattered mirror. Inside, humans and robots moved together in a delicate dance of efficiency. Robots cleaned, transported supplies, and maintained the life support systems. Humans managed the creativity, intuition, and judgment that machines could not replicate. Kira pulled on her boots, adjusted her hair one last time, and took a deep breath. Today, she would step out, experience the social world again, and maybe learn something new about herself. As she moved toward the door, Maya's voice stopped her again. "Take the time to notice things," she said. "The stars, the lights, the little details, that's where life hides." Kira nodded, tucking the advice away in her mind. "I'll try." The elevator hummed softly as it took her down to the observation deck. The corridors were clean, wide, and faintly sterile, but the humans who walked them brought life to every corner. Engineers carried toolkits that looked heavier than they were, students held glowing tablets, and a few children, rare on Lyra 7, raced down the hall, laughing in ways that made Kira smile. When she arrived at the observation deck, the view stole her breath away. Through the massive glass dome, the ring of the station glinted against the star it orbited. Colors she had never noticed before shimmered across the metallic surface, soft blues, pale golds, and hints of violet. Ships moved along the station's docking lanes like graceful fish swimming through space. For the first time in weeks, Kira felt the kind of awe she had only read about in old Earth stories. Her date, a young diplomat named Jalen, was already there. He stood by the railing, speaking softly into a device that translated alien tones into human speech. He smiled when he saw her, a polite, practiced smile, and Kira felt her nervousness grow. There was nothing wrong with him. He was charming, intelligent, and had manners refined enough to impress anyone. But he didn't have the quiet warmth that Maya did. As they walked together along the observation deck, Kira tried to focus on their conversation. Jalen spoke of interstellar trade, of diplomatic relations, of alien cultures. His words were fascinating, but they felt distant, abstract, like reading a book instead of speaking to a person. Kira's mind wandered, thinking of Maya, of the way her neighbor's smile lingered even after Kira had looked away. A small, unexpected alarm sounded from one of the maintenance pods nearby. A minor power fluctuation. Nothing dangerous. Kira noticed it immediately, pointing it out before Jalen even realized something had happened. A maintenance robot zipped past, humming quietly, correcting the issue before anyone could intervene. Humans on Lyra 7 were observant in ways machines could not anticipate. That little moment reminded Kira of something she had always known, but often forgotten. Humanity was subtle but powerful. Their awareness, their empathy, their ability to care. These were strengths no AI could ever replicate. The dinner itself was pleasant. Lights glowed softly above the tables, and the food, while designed to be nutritious and efficient, tasted better than anything purely manufactured should. Kira laughed politely at Jalen's jokes, nodded at his stories, and tried to focus on the present. Yet, each time she glanced toward the observation deck's windows, she imagined Maya standing there instead, smiling quietly, noticing everything without saying much at all. By the time the dinner ended, Kira felt an odd emptiness. The conversation had been smooth, the food enjoyable, the ambiance perfect, but something essential was missing. She realized that no matter how charming Jalen was or how interesting his stories, there was no warmth, no spark, no quiet understanding. She had gone out looking for excitement, but the truth was simpler. She wanted someone who noticed the small things, who loved her for the little quirks she had, the same way Maya did. As she made her way back to her apartment, the station's corridors now seemed brighter, friendlier, filled with unseen life. Kira felt a strange mixture of regret and relief. She had gone out to find something, but what she truly wanted had been waiting for her all along. When she reached her apartment, the door was slightly ajar. Maya sat at her workbench, a small device glowing in front of her. She looked up as Kira entered. "Welcome back," she said softly, her tone as warm as the sunlight they no longer had on the station. Kira smiled, something unburdened and genuine. I had a date," she said. Maya nodded, her eyes calm and patient. And, Kira whispered, "I realized that some things don't change." She hesitated, then laughed softly. "Some things never needed to change." Maya smiled, that quiet, steady smile that had been her anchor through so many ordinary days. "I'm glad you're home," she said. Kira felt a flutter in her chest. She wasn't sure if it was relief, happiness, or anticipation for the future. Maybe all three. What mattered was that the sterile walls, the quiet corridors, the mechanical hum of Lyra 7, they all felt warmer now. Human presence, human warmth, and human love made even the largest, most orderly station feel like home. And for the first time in a long while, Kira believed that life, messy, unpredictable, tender, was exactly where she wanted to be. The next morning, Kira woke to the soft hum of Lyra 7. The station moved silently around its sun. a vast ring of steel and glass, humming with life. Outside her window, the stars were scattered like diamonds across black velvet. Despite being so far from Earth, the sight made her feel strangely grounded, like the universe itself was whispering, "You belong here." She dressed quickly, slipping into her work uniform, a practical suit with multiple pockets for tools and gadgets. She glanced at the small note Maya had left on the counter. "Notice the small things today." Kira smiled. Maya had a way of reminding her of the beauty hidden in ordinary moments. Sometimes a simple word, a glance, or a gesture carried more meaning than an entire conversation. Kira left her apartment and stepped into the station's corridor. Robots glided silently past, carrying supplies or cleaning floors. Humans moved with purpose, adjusting machinery or consulting glowing tablets. The station was alive, yet in a calm, rhythmic way. The harmony of humans and machines fascinated Kira. The robots handled the routine, but humans brought creativity and intuition. She headed toward the engineering sector, her boots clicking against the metal floor. She passed a young child chasing after a small cleaning drone, laughing as the robots spun in circles to avoid them. Kira paused for a moment, watching, and a warmth spread through her chest. Life, even on a station built of steel and circuits, had its moments of unpredictable joy. In the engineering sector, Maya was already working, crouched over a panel that blinked erratically. Wires and tiny devices surrounded her, but she moved with calm precision, adjusting, testing, and repairing with an effortless grace. Kira stopped to watch, momentarily mesmerized. Maya's hands were steady, her eyes focused, yet there was a softness to her movements. "You're early," Maya said without looking up, her voice calm, familiar. "I wanted to see the sector today," Kira replied, smiling. "And I wanted to see you." Maya glanced up, her expression softening. "Well, you're here. That's what matters." Kira walked closer, noticing small signs of human creativity everywhere. Tiny stickers shaped like stars decorated the edges of control panels. A small, hand-carved wooden model of a spaceship rested on a shelf. Even in a station dominated by technology, humans left traces of imagination, subtle marks that machines could not replicate. These were the signs Maya had meant in her note, the beauty hidden in small details, the kind of wonder only humans could create. "Do you ever think about how small we are?" Kira asked, gesturing toward the massive window that showed the glowing arcs of the station against space. "All the time," Maya said. "But it doesn't matter. We can still make a difference even if it's small. Even tiny things matter." Kira nodded. She had always felt that, but sometimes life on the station made it easy to forget. Humans were capable of so much, but in a place designed for efficiency, it was easy to blend into the background. Maya reminded her that noticing, caring, and acting, no matter how small, was what truly set humans apart. Their day passed in a quiet rhythm. Kira assisted Maya with the repairs, handing her tools and holding panels in place. They worked in silence, speaking only when necessary. But the silence was comfortable, filled with an unspoken connection. Kira found herself observing the way Maya solved problems, not just with logic, but with creativity, intuition, and care. When a wire snapped, Maya didn't panic. She traced it carefully, adjusted the connections, and improvised a solution that even the station's AI seemed to approve of. "You have a gift," Kira said quietly. Maya shrugged, a small, modest smile playing at her lips. "Everyone has something. You just need to notice it." Kira laughed softly. I'm noticing. I'm noticing a lot today." As the day went on, Kira explored more of the station, following Maya's subtle guidance. They walked through corridors lined with holographic displays showing star charts, station schematics, and messages from other sectors. Kira paused often, just to look. She watched a robot gently help an elderly human carry supplies. She observed the tiny handwritten notes people left on shared consoles, reminders, small drawings, messages of encouragement. Each small gesture made the station feel alive in a way machines could never achieve alone. During lunch, Kira and Maya sat by a window overlooking the docking lanes. A shuttle glided smoothly toward a waiting berth, its lights reflected in the glass like a ribbon of fire. Kira picked at her meal, but her mind wandered. "Do you ever feel lonely?" she asked suddenly. Maya looked at her for a long moment, her eyes thoughtful. "Sometimes," she admitted, "but then I remember all the people around me, and the stars, and the little moments we create. Loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about not noticing the life around you." Kira considered this, watching a small group of engineers laughing as they fixed a malfunctioning panel. Even in the mechanical routine, humans found ways to connect, to bring warmth to their work. She realized that what she had felt on her date, something missing, was the absence of that connection. With Maya, every glance, every small smile, every shared silence felt like a bridge between two worlds, the mechanical and the human. After lunch, they continued their inspection of the station. A minor energy fluctuation had been reported in one of the sectors, and Kira and Maya were sent to investigate. The sector was a maze of pipes, panels, and glowing conduits. Robots moved efficiently, checking sensors and adjusting systems, but Kira noticed that Maya didn't rely on them alone. She examined every detail, sensing the subtle shifts in light and energy that indicated where a problem might lie. "There," Maya said softly, pointing to a thin conduit glowing faintly red. "It's not a major issue, but it could cause problems if ignored." Kira watched in admiration as Maya worked, hands deftly adjusting the system. Within minutes, the fluctuation was corrected. The lights steadied, the hum returned to normal, and the robots resumed their routine, unaware of the human creativity that had just prevented a minor disaster. "You make it look so easy," Kira said, her voice filled with awe. Maya smiled. "It's practice, and paying attention, and caring." Kira realized that caring, that quiet human insistence on noticing and acting, was what truly made humans extraordinary. Machines could follow instructions perfectly, but they could not anticipate, adapt, or empathize. Humans, in all their messy emotions and unpredictable behavior, were irreplaceable. As the day drew to a close, Kira and Maya returned to their apartments. The station was quiet now, except for the soft hum of life support systems and the occasional distant chatter. Kira felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't experienced during her date. She had learned something important. The extraordinary could exist in ordinary moments, in quiet connections, in the subtle magic humans brought to life. Before leaving, Maya handed Kira a small, hand-drawn map of the station's observation decks. Tiny stars marked locations where interesting things could be noticed, unusual plant arrangements, unique lighting effects, or unexpected reflections in the glass. "Keep noticing," Maya said. "Life is hiding in the details." Kira took the map, her fingers brushing against Maya's. She felt warmth, connection, and a sense of purpose. Maybe today hadn't been thrilling in the conventional sense, but it had been transformative. She realized that she didn't need grand adventures or dazzling spectacles. Humans, curious, creative, caring humans, made even the most routine days extraordinary. As Kira returned to her apartment, she paused at her window, looking out at the stars. The station curved around its sun like a silver ring, alive with human ingenuity and spirit. And for the first time, Kira felt that she was exactly where she belonged. With Maya by her side, she knew the ordinary could be magical, the small could be mighty, and the simple act of noticing could change everything. She smiled to herself, thinking of the small moments, the quiet connections, and the subtle wonders waiting in every corner of Lyra 7. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more discoveries, and more ordinary moments that were anything but ordinary. And she couldn't wait. The next morning, Kira woke to a soft hum vibrating through the floor of Lyra 7. The station had settled into its routine, machines gliding silently along corridors, lights blinking in quiet rhythm, humans moving with purpose. Yet for Kira, something had shifted. The events of the previous days lingered in her mind. The date, Maya's confession, and the quiet understanding she felt between them. There was excitement in the ordinary now, a sense that life itself was a discovery. Today, her work schedule was interrupted by an unusual visitor, an alien diplomat, assigned to observe human life on the station. Kira had met such beings before, tall, thin, with luminous skin and large, reflective eyes, but they always fascinated her. Their presence was a gentle reminder that humanity was not alone in the universe, that other intelligent beings existed with their own cultures, rules, and quirks. Jalen, the diplomat from her date, was already waiting in the observation deck. He smiled politely when he saw Kira, a smile she returned, though a little more reserved than the day before. They were to walk together through one of the station's energy sectors, observing operations and discussing diplomatic cooperation. As they began, Kira noticed something immediately. Jalen was highly analytical, focused on efficiency, patterns, and logic. Every step, every gesture seemed calculated to optimize the task at hand. Yet there was something missing, a subtle spark that humans naturally possessed, a sense of empathy and intuition. She realized she had taken that for granted. Humans didn't just solve problems, they understood them in ways machines or even advanced aliens could not. While they walked, a small warning light flashed on the panel nearby. Jalen paused, scanning the indicators, and immediately noted the anomaly in a formal, technical manner. Kira stepped forward instinctively, examining the light and the adjacent conduits. She traced the path with her hands, noticing a faint, irregular pulse in the energy lines. It was subtle, too subtle for most machines or outsiders to detect. "See this?" Kira asked. "The fluctuation isn't just a spike, it's connected to the control loop here and here. It will stabilize if we adjust the secondary regulators first." Jalen tilted his head, eyes wide with curiosity. "You mean humans can perceive such patterns intuitively?" he asked. Kira shrugged, trying to keep her voice calm. "We notice things. We feel things in ways logic alone can't explain. It's instinct." Maya arrived shortly after, responding to the same warning. She moved with quiet precision, observing the lines, the lights, the subtle vibrations in the metal panels. Within moments, she adjusted the regulators, balancing the energy flow perfectly. The anomaly disappeared, the hum of the station returning to normal. Jalen watched in amazement. "Remarkable," he whispered. "The machines could not have done that without human guidance." Maya smiled softly. "Machines can follow instructions, but humans can anticipate. We notice what's missing, what's subtle, what's overlooked." Kira felt a surge of pride, not for herself alone, but for humanity. Humans were fragile in many ways, limited in strength and reach. Yet they possessed something extraordinary: empathy, intuition, creativity, and courage. Even in a place built entirely for efficiency, humans left their mark, and it was impossible to replace. After the repair, Kira and Maya guided Jalen through the observation deck. Kira took the opportunity to point out the subtle beauty humans had added to the station. A tiny model spaceship tucked in a corner, holographic star patterns projected along the ceiling, and even the soft way the light reflected off the metallic walls. Jalen observed quietly, his large eyes following her gestures. "Humans embellish even efficiency," he said slowly. "Every detail carries meaning." "Yes," Maya said. "Even small things matter. Life isn't just about function, it's about experience." The trio walked together, and Kira began to see the contrast between the human and alien approaches more clearly. Jalen relied on analysis, on data, on clear cause and effect reasoning. Maya and Kira relied on observation, intuition, and subtle judgment. It was a collision of worlds, but it was not a conflict. It was a demonstration of the different ways intelligence could manifest. By the time their inspection ended, Kira had learned more than she expected. She realized that humans were not just adaptable or clever. They were deeply connected to each other and the environment. The station itself was an extension of human ingenuity, but it was the people who brought it to life. Machines could operate systems efficiently, and aliens could process data far faster than humans, but only humans had the ability to notice the small anomalies, to care, and to adjust with understanding. After the inspection, Kira and Maya returned to the engineering sector. Kira carried a small toolkit, while Maya focused on recalibrating a few minor sensors. The quiet rhythm of their work contrasted sharply with the structured precision of Jalen's observations, yet it was equally effective. "Do you think he understands?" Kira asked, glancing at Maya. "Understands what?" Maya replied, not looking up. The human touch. The way we think, feel, notice. I mean, he's polite, he's observant, but he doesn't see it the way we do." Maya paused, setting down a tool. She looked at Kira, her expression thoughtful. "Maybe not. But that's okay. Humans don't need everyone to understand. We just need to be ourselves. That's enough." Kira nodded slowly, feeling the truth of her words. Humanity wasn't about proving superiority or intelligence. It was about presence, care, and connection. The quiet bonds between people, the small acts of empathy and insight, were more powerful than the grandest technology or the most intricate data analysis. Later, as the day ended, Kira and Maya returned to the observation deck. The station glowed softly against the blackness of space. Ships moved along docking lanes like luminescent fish, reflecting tiny lights against the curved glass. Humans and machines worked together in harmony, but it was the human presence that gave life its vibrancy. Kira thought about the dinner she had attended with Jalen, the politeness, the structure, the charm. It had been enjoyable, yet empty. And now, seeing the station through Maya's eyes, she understood why. Life wasn't about appearances or rules. It was about noticing, feeling, and participating. Humans brought heart to every moment. Maya walked beside her, quiet and steady, pointing out small details. The way sunlight reflected off a polished panel, a tiny engraving left by a previous engineer, the faint hum of a system running slightly out of tune, but still beautiful in its rhythm. Kira smiled, feeling a connection not just to Maya, but to humanity itself. "You see it now?" Maya asked gently. Kira nodded. "I see it. I see everything." They stayed by the window for a long while, watching ships glide past, lights flicker and shadows dance along the curved walls. In that moment, Kira felt the full weight and wonder of being human, fragile, curious, imperfect, yet brilliant. She realized that life on Lyra 7 was not just about survival or efficiency. It was about humans making their mark, leaving traces of warmth, creativity, and understanding wherever they went. As the stars reflected in her eyes, Kira knew that she had a choice. She could chase perfection, logic, or the approval of others. Or she could embrace what made humans extraordinary: empathy, intuition, and the courage to care deeply. and for the first time she knew she wanted to live fully as herself, noticing the small things, creating beauty in ordinary moments, and sharing that with the people who mattered most, starting with Maya. As they walked back toward their apartments, Kira felt a quiet confidence she had never known. Life on Lyra 7 was vast, mechanical, and sometimes overwhelming. But humanity, human ingenuity, creativity, and heart made it meaningful. And for Kira, the collision of worlds had revealed something simple yet profound. Humans weren't just part of the universe. They were extraordinary within it. Maya glanced at her, her hand brushing against Kira's. "The stars aren't the only things that shine," she said softly. Kira smiled, warmth flooding her chest. "No, they aren't," she replied. And as they continued through the corridors, surrounded by humans, machines, and the endless expanse of space, Kira felt a quiet joy. The ordinary was extraordinary. The small moments were powerful, and the human heart could illuminate even the vastest void. For the first time, Kira understood that life wasn't just something to survive. It was something to notice, to participate in, and to cherish. The station lights of Lyra 7 dimmed slightly, signaling the approach of the artificial night cycle. Outside, the stars gleamed against the dark expanse of space, reflected faintly in the curved glass of the observation dome. Kira lingered near the windows, her mind replaying the events of the past days. The date with Jalen, the minor energy anomaly, and the quiet, steady companionship of Maya. It all pressed together in her chest like a mixture of wonder and longing. Maya appeared beside her without a sound, carrying a small object wrapped in soft blue fabric. "I thought you might like this," she said softly. Kira turned, curiosity lighting her eyes. "What is it?" she asked. Maya unwrapped the fabric to reveal a tiny, hand-drawn map of the station's constellations. Each star was labeled with a small note. Where the first shuttle docked, where we found the broken sensor, where the light hit the control panel just right. Every detail marked a shared memory, a small victory, or a quiet observation. "I made this for you," Maya said, her voice calm yet brimming with meaning. "I thought, maybe you would like to see what I notice, to see the station as I see it." Kira's chest tightened. Her hands hovered over the map, unsure whether to touch it or hold it. She looked up at Maya, noticing for the first time just how much care, thought, and quiet affection her neighbor had poured into this small gift. It was simple, unassuming, yet it spoke volumes. You did all this?" Kira whispered, barely able to find her voice. Maya nodded, eyes steady and warm. "I wanted you to see, not the station as it is, but the station as it could be, with the small things that matter, with us noticing together." Kira's gaze softened, emotions swelling inside her. She thought of the words Maya had spoken days before, when she had first confessed her feelings. "I love you." Those words, simple and gentle, had lingered in Kira's mind ever since. And now, with this map, the meaning became clearer. Maya wasn't just a neighbor or a colleague. She was the one who saw her, truly saw her, in every small, subtle way. I don't know what to say," Kira admitted, her voice trembling slightly. "You don't need to say anything," Maya replied. "Just feel it, notice it. That's enough." For a moment, Kira let herself breathe, let herself simply absorb the presence of Maya, the quiet beauty of the stars, the warmth of human connection that no machine, no schedule, no alien diplomat could replicate. Life on Lyra 7 was vast, mechanical, and often overwhelming. Yet here, in this small corner of the station, it felt intimate, meaningful, and alive. Kira took a step closer to Maya, the small map clutched in her hands. All this time, she said softly, I was looking for excitement, for adventure, and I didn't realize it was right here all along. Maya's smile deepened, a quiet understanding shining in her eyes. Adventure isn't always grand, she said. Sometimes it's in noticing, in caring, in the little things that make life worth living. Kira nodded, a gentle laugh escaping her lips. Then I've been blind. I've been searching in the wrong places. Maya reached out, brushing a hand lightly against Kira's. Not blind, she said. Just learning. And now, you see. The two of them stood in silence, gazing out at the stars, letting the quiet hum of the station fill the space between them. Every blinking light, every distant shuttle, every tiny reflection became part of their shared experience. Kira felt a profound sense of gratitude for Maya, for humanity, for the ordinary moments that contained extraordinary meaning. Finally, Kira spoke again. Maya, I think I understand now. It's not just about noticing the station, it's about noticing each other, about noticing life. Maya nodded, her eyes glimmering with quiet emotion. Exactly. Humans. Our strength isn't just in what we build or what we do. It's in how we care, how we connect, and how we notice the small things that make life beautiful. Kira felt a warmth spreading through her chest. She had spent so long chasing efficiency, structure, and approval that she had forgotten the heart of being human, the capacity to love, to observe, to care deeply. And now, standing beside Maya, she realized that this was the extraordinary she had been searching for all along. She took a deep breath, gathering courage. Maya, I think I love you too, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Maya's hand tightened gently around hers, a quiet affirmation. I was hoping you'd say that, she replied, her tone soft, steady, and full of warmth. I didn't rush you. I just waited. Kira smiled, a mixture of relief, joy, and wonder coursing through her. The world outside, the vast mechanical expanse of Lyra 7, the silent hum of robots, the distant stars, felt alive in a new way. Every detail seemed brighter, every sound more meaningful. Every movement of the station a subtle rhythm in which they were both a part. They spent hours together, exploring the observation deck, pointing out the constellations, sharing stories, and laughing quietly. Kira noticed small things she had never seen before. The way light reflected in Maya's eyes, the subtle way her hands moved when she spoke, the small expressions that revealed emotion without words. Every observation deepened her understanding and affection. Later, as the artificial night cycle advanced, Kira and Maya returned to the engineering sector. The station was quiet, except for the soft hum of life support systems and occasional blinking lights. Kira felt a sense of comfort she had never known, the feeling of belonging, of being seen and understood. They worked together, recalibrating a few minor systems and checking sensors. The mechanical tasks were mundane, yet in their shared presence they became moments of connection. Kira realized that even in routine, life could be meaningful if humans noticed and cared. At one point, Maya paused, looking up at Kira. You know, she said softly, I never doubted that humans are remarkable, but I also never doubted that love, attention, and kindness are what truly make us extraordinary. Kira nodded, feeling the truth of the words. We can build all we want, we can explore all the stars, but without noticing, without caring, it wouldn't mean anything. Maya smiled, brushing a hand against Kira's cheek. Exactly. And that's why I love you, not because you're brilliant or clever, but because you notice, you care. You're human, fully and beautifully human. Kira felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "And I love you," she said, her voice steady despite the emotions swelling inside. "I love you because you see me, because you've always been here, noticing, caring, and waiting." Maya leaned closer, their foreheads touching gently, a quiet intimacy that spoke louder than words. "Then we'll notice together," she whispered. They stayed that way for a long while, wrapped in quiet warmth, listening to the soft rhythm of the station and the distant stars beyond the glass. For the first time, Kira felt fully at peace. The station, vast and mechanical, was no longer just a place of work and survival. It was alive, meaningful, and shared. Life, human life, was extraordinary because it was observed, cherished, and connected. As the night cycle continued, Kira realized that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more discoveries, more small details to notice. But now, she had someone by her side, someone who understood the extraordinary in ordinary moments. And that was enough. Finally, as the artificial night deepened and the station settled into quiet, Kira and Maya returned to their apartments, hand in hand. The stars outside gleamed softly, reflecting in the glass and in their eyes. Kira knew that life would continue, complex, vast, and often challenging, but now it would be filled with purpose, connection, and love. And as she drifted to sleep, Kira realized that sometimes the greatest adventures weren't the ones planned or grand. Sometimes they were found in the small moments, in noticing, in caring, and in loving, the quiet, extraordinary moments that made life truly human. The next morning, Lyra 7 glimmered softly under its artificial sun. The station hummed with quiet activity, robots gliding along corridors, humans moving purposefully with tools, tablets, and clipboards, and distant ships docking along the gleaming arcs of the ring. Kira stood at the window of her apartment, watching the station's bustle. But today the routine felt different. The world around her, mechanical and precise, seemed warmer, richer, and full of possibilities. Maya appeared beside her, holding 2 small cups of tea. She handed one to Kira, and they stood silently, sipping as they gazed out at the stars. There was comfort in the silence, a shared understanding that no words were necessary. Life on Lyra 7 was vast and complex, but in these quiet moments, they had found clarity, connection, and joy. "You know," Kira said softly, "I've never thought of the station this way before. I mean, it's so big, so mechanical, but now it feels alive." Maya smiled, eyes reflecting the starlight. "It is alive, not because of the machines, but because of us. Humans notice, care, and create meaning. That's what gives life to even the coldest, most mechanical places." Kira nodded, thinking back to the events of the past days. The date with Jalen, the small repairs, the quiet moments of observation, and finally, Maya's confession. Everything had led her to this realization. Human presence, attention, and care were what truly made life extraordinary. Machines could manage efficiency, aliens could analyze data, but humans brought heart. Their morning was soon interrupted by a message from the station's central hub. A minor system in one of the lower sectors had gone offline, potentially affecting the power distribution to the living quarters. Kira glanced at Maya, and without a word, they moved together toward the engineering sector. The corridors were quiet, but every detail spoke volumes. Humans had left their marks on the station, small notes on consoles, hand-drawn star patterns near panels, tiny decorative carvings tucked in corners. Even amidst the gleaming metal and whirring machines, there was beauty, creativity, and warmth. Kira felt a surge of pride. This was humanity, leaving traces of life wherever they went. When they arrived at the lower sector, the problem became clear. A power conduit had partially failed, causing minor fluctuations in the energy grid. Robots had responded, attempting to stabilize the system, but subtle irregularities remained. These were small things, easily overlooked yet critical. Kira knelt beside the conduit, running her hands along the panels, sensing the faint vibrations. She could feel where the imbalance originated, how the energy flowed, and what adjustments were necessary. Maya joined her, observing with calm precision. Together, they worked efficiently, blending human intuition with technical skill. "You know," Kira said quietly, "machines could handle most of this, but they wouldn't notice what we notice. They wouldn't care in the same way." Maya nodded. "Exactly. We're not just problem solvers. We're observers, adapters, and creators. That's what makes humans extraordinary." Within minutes, the power fluctuations were corrected. The conduit hummed steadily, lights in the sector stabilized, and the robots resumed their routine, unaware of the subtle human touch that had prevented a larger issue. Kira felt a quiet satisfaction. There was no grand adventure, no drama, just humans noticing, caring, and acting. And that, she realized, was enough. After finishing the repairs, Kira and Maya returned to the observation deck. The view was breathtaking. The station arced gracefully around its sun, docking shuttles gliding smoothly along the lanes and distant stars sparkling like scattered diamonds. Kira felt a profound sense of belonging. She had learned something vital. Human life was extraordinary not because of grand gestures or feats of strength, but because of the small, thoughtful actions that connected people to each other and the world around them. Maya handed Kira the small constellation map she had made days ago. "I thought we could add new stars," she said softly. "Places where we notice things together, moments that matter." Kira's eyes lit up. "I'd like that," she said. "Every discovery, every small moment, every quiet act, it's ours to notice." They spent the afternoon walking through the observation deck, cataloging small moments that others might overlook. A reflection of the sun on a polished panel, a rare alignment of docking lights, a tiny bird-like maintenance drone moving with surprising grace. Each observation felt significant, an affirmation of human creativity and attention. As they cataloged these moments, Kira felt an overwhelming sense of connection, not just with Maya, but with humanity as a whole. Humans were fragile in the vastness of space, limited in reach and power, yet they thrived because they cared, noticed, and acted. They were observers of life, creators of beauty, and builders of connections. In that, they were unmatched. Even the machines seemed different in their presence, less like tools, more like extensions of human ingenuity. Robots moved efficiently, but Kira realized that without humans noticing, adjusting, and caring, the station would be functional but lifeless. Humanity was the spark that brought Lyra 7 to life. As evening approached, a message arrived from the station's council. A team of engineers from another sector had requested guidance in optimizing their energy distribution. Kira and Maya volunteered, eager to share their knowledge and insight. Their approach was simple: observe carefully, notice the small details, and use creativity to solve problems that logic alone could not. Arriving at the sector, Kira and Maya demonstrated subtle techniques, adjustments that balanced energy flow, minor calibrations that increased efficiency, and small innovations that machines and standard protocols could not anticipate. The engineers watched in awe, realizing that humans' unique abilities, intuition, observation, empathy, were invaluable even in a station dominated by technology. "Your approach is extraordinary," one engineer said. "We've never seen systems adjusted with such precision and care without relying solely on AI." Kira smiled, brushing a stray strand of hair from her face. "It's not just about precision. It's about noticing, caring, and acting thoughtfully. That's what humans bring to life, not just machines or rules. Maya nodded, her calm presence reinforcing the truth in Kira's words. Even in a mechanical world, humans are the spark. We create meaning where machines cannot. After finishing the optimizations, Kira and Maya returned to the observation deck, their footsteps echoing softly along the metallic corridors. They paused to watch a shuttle glide along its docking path, perfectly aligned with the station's energy beams. The movement was elegant, almost alive. Kira glanced at Maya, warmth and admiration in her eyes. I never realized. Humans are remarkable in ways no one can measure. Not in strength, not in speed, not in data, but in noticing, in caring, and in connecting. Maya reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. Exactly. And now we share it together. Life is extraordinary because we notice it, together. They stayed at the observation deck for hours, cataloging moments, sharing quiet stories, and simply being present with each other. Every blink of light, every faint hum, every reflection in the curved glass became part of their shared experience. Kira realized that life wasn't about grand adventures or dazzling events. It was about participation, observation, and connection. That was the true essence of being human. As the artificial night deepened, Kira and Maya returned to their apartments. The station had quieted, but the world still felt alive with energy, potential, and subtle beauty. Kira took a deep breath, feeling a profound sense of peace. She had found love, connection, and purpose, not in chaos or excitement, but in noticing, caring, and sharing life with someone who truly understood. Before she slept, Kira glanced out at the stars one last time. Lyra 7 stretched endlessly around its sun, a marvel of engineering and human effort. And yet, it was the people within it, the humans noticing, caring, creating, that made it extraordinary. Machines could maintain systems, aliens could analyze data, but only humans brought meaning, warmth, and heart. Maya's hand rested lightly on Kira's shoulder as she watched the stars. Tomorrow, she whispered, we'll notice more, we'll create more, and we'll share it together. Kira smiled, the weight of the universe feeling lighter in that quiet moment. Yes, she said softly, together. And as Lyra 7 continued its silent orbit around the distant sun, Kira realized something profound. Humans were extraordinary, not because of what they could build or control, but because of what they could notice, love, and share. The universe was vast and mechanical, but within it, humans left a mark of warmth, ingenuity, and connection that no machine, no schedule, no distance could erase. Kira and Maya stood together, hand in hand, watching the stars flicker in the distance. The station was alive, the universe was alive, and humanity, human hearts, human minds, and human warmth was the spark that illuminated it all. And for Kira, that was the greatest adventure of all.